Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, June the 10th, 2019. So back in February, the Beadsmith came out with a beautiful new Centerline component called a Sunburst. So the piece looks like this, and it's a pretty good size piece. It's about 3 inches in diameter. But it has all these little open slots where you can add size 11 delicate beads. In every slot, a 13 size 11 delicate beads will fit in that slot. You can also put something on the inside as well, but I chose to leave this one open. Now to do this, you are going to need a 13 row Sunburst Centerline component. This one that I showed you just a second ago was the gold. We have it in a beautiful rose gold color, and what I'm going to be showing you today is the silver. Now, we got tickled because I was actually showing this at a class that I did this previous Saturday at the store, and they said, well, if nothing else, you can use it as an SOS if you get lost, and because it's got really great reflection there. So now, every time I look at it, I can't help it. That's what I think. But it's a gorgeous piece. Now, to do this, you're going to need delicate beads. You can use one solid color if you like. I'm going to be using 3 colors of a size 11 delicate. I'll be using a gray, an opaque old rose, and just like lavender, I guess. Yes, opaque lavender. So I'm going to be using 3 colors. In the sample, when I show you up close, it's got cream, peach, and turquoise in it. So each of these, I like to use 3 colors just because you can really see the color separation on them, and it's really fun. Now, I'm going to be using DuraThread today for this project. The really great thing about the DuraThread is it's super abrasion resistant, so it's really great to use with crystals or like this project that has sharp edges. Now, I used Fireline. If you're going to use Fireline, you may want to use a 10-pound Fireline, but even the Fireline broke when I tried it doing the project with it. So you may want to use a doubled thread, your 10-pound Fireline, whatever. Some of this metal piece does have the sharp edges on it, so you just want to be concerned about that as you work. For this piece, I'm going to cut 2 yards of my DuraThread, and I'm going to put it on my needle, and we'll get started. Okay, so here is a sample of what I'm going to show you today more up close. You can see here that I've used the 3 colors. I've used the cream, the peach, and the turquoise here to kind of give it really that sunburst effect. Now, on your component, you will see that you have all these holes where you use them to add your sunburst, but you also have a hole here and here, and that's made to put a bead into if you want to, and this is a 10mm round. Now, I put my bead in and I did several stitches through the piece, and by the end of the day, this had broken and already popped out. So I don't know necessarily if I would put a crystal in this centerpiece. You could put anything as long as it's around that 10mm size. I'm not going to put one in mine today either, just because I like the look of the piece. Now, a few things you need to be aware of as you're doing it. Let me see if I can get this here. On this front piece, you can see that you can see thread at the top and the bottom, but your thread is just there at the holes. On the back side of the piece, this is where you're going to see the thread. You can see here I've had to jump from hole to hole, and that's what we're going to be doing today as well. So you'll have a back side and a front side to your piece. This is called a 13 row because 13 beads will fit in each one of these holes that we have on our piece. Now, this one was the gold. This one that I'm going to show you today is the silver, and then like I said, we also have it in this really pretty rose gold color. I'm going to be using 3 colors of delicate today. I'm using a gray, an opaque rose, and an opaque lavender. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got my needle threaded, and I'm going to come up through this hole right here. So if you see you have a hole here and here, this is going to be for your centerpiece. So I like to start on the hole right next to it. So coming up from the back, I'm going to come through that hole. And I'm going to pull the thread through, and I want to leave about 6 inches of thread, just so I can hang on to it. So since 13 is an odd number, I'm going to pick up a range of beads here. So I'm going to pick up 4 of the gray, 4 of this rose color, and then 5 of my purple. So that'll be 13 beads. Now I'm coming out of this hole here, so I'm just going to come to the hole here across from it, and I'm going to come down through that hole and pull the thread. So when you do, you see those pop into place. Now I need to go back through all 13 of those beads again. So you have 2 options. You can either come up through the back to the front to go through them, or I can flip it to the back like this and go through all 13 beads again. The good thing is, if you're using 13 beads, or you're using just a standard size needle, your needle will go through all 13 of those at one time. If you're using a smaller, shorter needle, like a sharp needle, what they call a sharp, you may have to go through multiple at a time. So I'm going to pull this, and I want to pull it to where they're in a nice straight line. And then see, this is where my tail thread is, so I'm going to come right back to that same spot again. Okay, so you can see now I have that first one complete. Now you can, at this point, jump to the next hole. So it doesn't matter. At this point, you're making a front and a back. So I'm going to jump to the next hole, and I'm going to put my 13 beads in again. So 4, 4, and 5. Okay, I'm going to come to this opposite hole, and I'm going to go through that hole. Okay, now we have to go back through those beads again. So I'm just going to flip it to this side just so that I can see those. Or like I said, you can put your needle up through your piece here, up through the little empty hole, and go through them again. Pull that thread, pop them into place, and then I'm going to go down through the hole. Okay, so now when I flip it back to this side, I'm going to go through the next hole. The main thing is you want all the threads to be, that you're going to see, you want them to be on this one side here. And I have a little knot in my thread, so let me get my knot out real quick. Okay, got the knot out. You can see I jumped to the second hole here, and now I'm ready to put on my beads again. So I'm going to show you one more time. So I'm going to pick up 4, 4, and 5. Now you can pick up however you want it. It's completely up to you. That's just what I picked up. It's whatever floats your boat. So I've got them in place. Now, like I said, if you want to, you can bring your needle up through that hole, or you can flip it, whatever you want to do. Go through all 13 beads again. Hold it in place. Pull it straight. You see I'm pulling it straight down the way that the thread is coming out of my bead stack. Now I'm going to go right down through that same hole again below my bead stack. Okay, if you flip it over, see if you can see here. So now I'm just going to go to the next hole in the little sunburst. So we're keeping all of the thread that's going to be seen. We're keeping it on the back and keeping the front nice and clean. So let me go ahead and do the rest of these so I can get back and show you what we're going to do with our working thread and the tail. Okay, so as you can see, I have gotten all of my beads put into the disc. Now, my working thread is on the back, and my tail thread that I had here on the front, I've got my needle threaded with the tail thread. And what I'm going to do with the tail thread is I'm going to run it up through the line of beads again that I put on. So my 13 beads here. I'm going to run it down through this hole. Now, if you want, you can take this thread and you can grab a hold under here and you can do a half hitch knot with the thread. Okay. The other option is to take it through, and when you take it all the way back through, you want to come out on the back side of the piece, so where our threads are. So if you have to kind of go through it and come out on the front and then poke it through the hole, that is fine. It's kind of one of those things, it don't matter how you get there as long as you get there. Okay, so now it is on the back with my working thread. So what I'm going to do now is, since I have all these threads here, I'm just going to tie these two threads together. If you want to do half hitch knots to get rid of your thread, that is completely up to you. Whatever you want to do. So I'm just putting some knots in here. And then with the Dura thread, the great thing about the Dura thread is once you put a knot in there, it stays. You don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to trim those threads so that now the front looks nice and pretty. And you've got your two holes here that if you want to put something in the center, you can. Now to finish it off, the great thing is it's kind of one of those instant gratification projects, because literally you just can add a jump ring to the top and then attach it to whatever sort of string of material you want. So for the gold one, I put it on chain, but it really can go on anything. So again, on the website, we have the gold, the silver, and the rose gold, and you can find all of those at offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com.